I hope I said this right. That's all the Korean I'm going to say, unfortunately. So my name is Shahid, and I am the Vice President at Braze for APAC and the GCC region. I've been with Braze for about 18 months, but I've been in tech for about 25 years now. I started my career in the late 90s with a WPP agency in India, and since then I actually moved over from the creative side of the world to more of the tech side, working with brands like Oracle and Google, ActiveCampaign and HubSpot before I joined Braze. So I've seen my fair share of the evolution of the customer engagement space and have been lucky to get a front row seat as that has evolved over the years. Now, one thing which all of you would totally agree with, no matter what industry you come from, you might be coming from retail and e-commerce, you might be in travel and hospitality, you might be in gaming, you might be in financial services, no matter which industry you belong to, one thing which is very sacrosanct is that your customers matter. And that's kind of the premise for my talk today, where I'll talk to you a lot about how you can ensure that your customers also feel when they are interacting with you that they matter. Now, earlier this year, we actually launched a customer engagement review where we interviewed more than 2,000 customers globally and spoke with them about the trends in customer engagement. And just a few weeks ago, on top of that survey, we also collaborated with AB180 and did a deep dive survey with only Korean customers of AB180 just to understand a bit more about the trends globally, how do they play out with the trends here in Korea. Okay, so in the next few minutes, I'm going to share a bit with you about what are some of the global and APAC trends which came from our global survey, and then how do those match up with the survey we did with AB180 just a few weeks ago here in Korea. But if there's one thing which kind of is the overarching theme which came from our customer engagement review was the fact that in today's world, you need to understand and act on your customer's digital body language. You know, the world has changed quite a bit where you just cannot rely on the physical body language of a customer. Let's say you are a sporting brand, and back in the day, if a customer walked into your store and they went to the football section and they started looking at some Tottenham jerseys because of Son Heung-min, who's obviously the famous footballer there, you would know that this person's looking at the body language, they directly went to the football section, they are looking at Tottenham jerseys, you know exactly what are they looking for. And looking at their body language, you know how interested they are to purchase that jersey. Unfortunately, that is not as easy in the digital world. And in the digital world, you need to keenly listen to what your customers say, how they behave, and how they engage with you. And based on all these digital body signals, you need to then understand what's the next big step to engage with your customer. So, as a part of the customer engagement review, these are the top 3 trends which emerged when we spoke with these 2,000 plus customers, and also these trends align very well with what we did in our recent survey with AB180 with Korean customers. So the top 3 trends which emerged was 1, you need to mold your messaging. 2, you need to build trust through transparency. And 3, enhance experience over time with AI. Now I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about all these 3 trends and do a little deeper dive into the last trend, which is all around AI. So let's start with the first trend, which talks about mold your messaging. Now, as brands get more and more into adopting technology, the risk there lies that you may actually so much over-rely on your tech stack that you may be ignoring the good old-fashioned creativity and brand voice. And as brands evolve, they need to ensure that they do a good combination of their content and technology to get your messaging right. Because just think about it, a powerful message, an engaging message is the one which actually makes a customer stop what they are doing and do the next step which you want them to do. People are always busy, they're always distracted with so many things, but if your message is strong enough to have them stop and take an action on that message, then you know for sure that your messaging has resonated very well. And that takes a lot of technology to understand your customer, but it takes a lot of content and creativity as well. And when we did the survey with our global customers and looked at some of the Korean brands, there is some interesting contrasts there. One thing which emerged from this is that as compared to global customers, the survey tells us that Korean marketers are playing it a little safe. Because if you look at the data point where 81% of customers are using technology-driven tactics to add emotional resonance, that number is a lot higher. It's actually 93% when you looked at APAC customers. So you're still playing a little safe on that. But when you go to the second trend, that story is even more apparent, that only 46% of Korean brands are using content-driven tactics as compared to 93% across APAC. So that's actually more than double of what we're seeing in Korea as compared to APAC. So what this tells me is that Korean marketers are actually focusing more on the performance piece and less on the emotional storytelling. And that's some food for thought for all of you, that do Korean consumers value emotional stories, or do they prioritize tangible benefits? From what we're seeing here, looks like Korean customers are actually taking more leeway into tangible benefits than emotional storytelling. But there always has to be a good balance between emotional storytelling and having your performance matrix show good. The second trend which emerged is around transparency and trust. So there is a lot of focus on the fact that brands want to get into advanced personalization, and they need to rely on openness and trust to succeed on that. Now, as per this survey, what we realized was that though brands want to personalize and send very customized messages to customers, they don't want to be doing it at the cost of the personalization, at the cost of the privacy or security concerns from customers. All brands want to personalize for sure, but there is always this thin line between a brand which understands you and a brand which is more like a creepy detective or a relentless seller or an obsessed stalker. You don't want to be one of those. You want to be a brand which truly understands your customer and not being a creepy detective, for example. And when we looked at this survey, 73% of Korean executives said that data privacy concerns have affected their plans for advanced personalization. Now, this data point aligns almost similarly with what we heard from other APAC customers as well, where the biggest reason for customers not to get into personalization is actually data privacy concerns. Now, as per Braze, what we believe is that if your customers understand how are you collecting their data, what data are you collecting, and then how will you dispose that data responsibly, the chances of customers sharing the data with you are a lot higher. There's this new phrase which I read a few months ago which says, data is the new uranium, right? The uranium is something which you need to handle really well. At the same time, you also need to dispose it very well as well. So that's kind of the power of data. And we believe that if you can be open and transparent with your customers, if you can let them know why are you using the data and what benefit do the customer has with that data being used by you, they will be more open and willing to share that data. The last trend which came from the survey which is not at all surprising, is around AI. And it talks about the fact that you need to enhance experiences over time with the usage of AI as a brand. And this is all about scaling and experimenting and driving continuous improvement day on day as brands engage with customers. Now, this one for me was probably the most shocking one when I look at the Korea data as compared to the APAC and the global data. Only 12% of Korean brands are actually using AI-powered analytics solutions, which basically means for Korean brands, they have not fully integrated AI into their CRM functions like customer analysis or segmentation or predictive modeling. Having said that, when we looked at the top performing brands, the high performing brands, those brands actually look at AI as a strategic asset and not just as a supportive tool. And they are truly able to see the benefits of AI by getting a lot more higher ROI from their engagement with their customers. So this is a topic which I think everyone is very fascinated about. It's a fascinating world of AI. But before I get into what customer engagement and AI can do together, I want to talk about a quick history lesson. So mankind has always been fascinated by AI. I'll give you a fun fact that the first AI tool ever released was this one. In the year 1770, more than 250 years ago, the first AI tool was released. You know what is this? This is called the Mechanical Turk. It was something which was basically a machine which could play chess, and it could beat top chess players in the world. Now, people were fascinated with the fact that there was a machine which was so smart which could beat chess players. The reality was this was actually a hoax, a fake. There was a person sitting inside the box with these mechanical hands and playing chess. But then the point I'm trying to make is that we have always been fascinated as humans with the fact that a machine can do much more smarter things, just like human beings or even more. And as we look into the AI and customer engagement space, what we've seen across the world is that there are 4 forms of AI which are used in customer engagement today. And these 4 forms are prediction, pattern identification, generation, and decisioning. The more fancier names of these are supervised learning, unsupervised learning, Gen AI, and reinforcement learning. So I'll take a few minutes to explain each of these to you with an example of a dog or a puppy. Okay? So first of all, prediction or supervised learning. Now, if you have a puppy, if you have a dog, you actually start training them based on historical data. You see that at 4 p.m. every day, the dog likes to go for a walk. At 5 p.m. every day, the dog likes to eat food. Now, based on this historical data or supervised learning, you know that if I don't take the dog out for a walk at 4 p.m., it will start barking. If you don't give them food at 5 p.m., it will start barking or creating chaos, right? So this is an example of supervised learning based on historical data. Pattern identification is again an extension of supervised learning, but it is less supervised than the first one. And a good example of that is how you can look at these 2 different dogs, which is a Boston Terrier versus a French Bulldog. And how do you identify the pattern which is similar for these? For example, both these dogs have a flat face, have long ears, big eyes, and a compact body. And this is a good example to kind of say, looking at pattern across different breeds of dogs to see which two brands look a lot familiar. The third one, I think this one all of us use every day. My son, he's 12 years old. When I was growing up, I used to say, let's Google it. He always says, let's chat GPT it, right? So we're living in this Gen AI world where we are just asking questions to chat GPT. And that's just a fun example to say you can just generate as many images of dogs as you want with AI. And the last one, which is a lot more exciting and the most cutting edge technology in this, is around decisioning or reinforcement learning. Again, staying on the same topic of dogs, let's say if you have a new puppy and you want to basically teach them a few tricks. How you do that is basically reinforcement learning, which is around maximizing rewards and avoiding penalties. So for example, if you tell a dog that shake hand, first time you tell a dog to shake hand, they don't even know what to do, but they realize that if I do this to my owner, then, or to my pet parent, then I know that I will get a reward, I'll get a treat every time I do this. On the other hand, if you spoil the couch, the sofa, you actually get a penalty. You may get a whack, you may not get food, whatever. So the reinforcement learning is really the dog realizing that what do I need to do to maximize rewards and what should I not do to avoid penalties. So those are kind of very simple way to understand those 4 forms of AI. Now, just going back to the marketing world and how do those 4 forms of AI actually get applied in real world, when you talk about supervised learning, the best example of that is you look at your customer data and you say, how many customers have a propensity to repurchase? Or how many of my customers have a likelihood to churn? This is all based on historical data. The second one around pattern identification, you can look at things like lookalike audiences or conversion correlation. When I say lookalike audiences, you say, typically the customers who purchase from me actually belong to a certain demographic, to a certain lifestyle, to a certain form of work they're doing, and so I should actually look for the similar kind of prospects to reach out to them. Or conversion correlation, for example, you might look at your data and say that typically if someone comes to my website and looks at the product video or they read our reviews from other customers, they actually end up buying our product. So again, these are all pattern identification which you're doing with the concept of conversion correlation. Then Gen AI, I don't think I need to tell about this at all, but brands are using Gen AI to generate images, create content, identify best subject for emails and bylines and in-app messages, so on and so forth. But I think this is the most popular form which everyone is using today in some way or the other. And the last one, which according to me is the most exciting, and we are seeing this across the world, is around the concept of reinforcement learning, where you have agentic AI. Roy talked about that just before this as well. And basically these agents are using the concept of reinforcement learning, which talks about maximizing your rewards and reducing penalties. And this is totally replacing the concept of A/B testing, because this is now A/B testing on steroids and looking at a segment of one. Rather than talking about my segment is, let's say, Korean male in the age group of 25 to 35 making at least $200,000 a year, that is not good enough. When you talk about a segment of one, each one of you in this room is a segment of their own. Like I'm a segment, Matt is a segment, Roy is a segment, so on and so forth. All of us are segments of one. And that's what AI decisioning tools can do, because these agents actually are learning autonomously and continuously as they start doing one step and the next and the next. And whatever they learn with that, they put it back into the loop and then learn from that again and again and again. So I think this is the best part about reinforcement learning, that it's autonomous and it's continuously learning. And you just have to tell them, what is the reward I want as a brand? I want to increase my average order value by 20%. Now go figure. I want to have 20% better results in retention. Now go figure, right? So, and reinforcement learning will go and figure that out, and AI decisioning tools will help you with that. Now, this is how even Braze has evolved on our customer engagement journey when it comes to AI. We launched AI about 10 years ago with a few tools around, for example, intelligent timing, that what is the best time to send a message to a customer. But over the years, we've evolved quite a bit as well as technology has advanced. So from plain A/B testing to one-shot multivariate testing, all the way to AI decisioning, we have solutions which can help you to start anywhere you want on your AI journey, but you can get to the most cutting edge part of it, which is all around AI decisioning. And an example of that is when you look at predictive modeling, it can tell you which customers have a likelihood to churn. But when you look at AI decisioning, it will tell you what do you need to do, and it will do it to protect that churn from happening, right? So all the way from prediction to action is what you can do with AI. Now you might be thinking all of this sounds really good, but are there any real world examples to support that? And the answer is yes. We have customers across the world which have been using Braze AI for quite some time. I want to share a few examples. I want to start with one here close to home in Korea, where Wigloo had used AI along with a bit of Gen AI features to ensure that they are able to boost their App Store ratings with customized Braze in-app messages. So for example, if a customer has a good experience on a product, they would actually get a notification to go and rate on the App Store, rate the app on the App Store. And with that, what they did was they were able to get 57% improvement in their ratings to an overall 4.8, and they were able to get more than 500 reviews in less than 8 weeks. So quite fascinating, very simple use case here with very powerful results. Let's get a little more into what we're seeing globally. I talked about predictive modeling. So 8fit actually use predictive modeling to get almost 4x higher conversions as compared to when they're not using AI. Or brands like OneRoof and Quizlet, they were able to use intelligent timing, which I talked about earlier, by which they were able to increase their revenue by 23% or get more than 4 million sessions started with intelligent timing. So again, this is really critical to make some small tweaks and get big results to you. I want to also share a quick video, if you can just pause it for 1 second and get the volume up, please. So Kayo Sports is basically the #1 OTT platform, sports OTT platform in Australia, and they use AI decisioning to help them to get results they could not even imagine. So I'll just have this video roll for a minute and then I'll talk about it.
To stay on the platform for as long as possible. We do that through customer engagement, we do that through cross-sell, and we do that through insights, analytics, and data science to really understand our customers.
We've actually embraced machine learning for quite some time. We do have an in-house insights and analytics team who've built a number of different predictive models in the past.
We started by building a rapid cycle A/B testing capability. We conducted over 300 tests in the first 18 months, and through that, we delivered really significant uplift. After we conducted our A/B testing program, we knew that the next stage of evolution was through AI.
I'm lucky enough to work in a team with like legends. However, there's only so
We are the streaming arm of Foxtel Group. Firstly, Kayo Sports, which is now the leading sports streaming business in Australia. We launched Binge, which was really targeting the entertainment industry.
We operate in a very competitive industry, and
We are the streaming arm of Foxtel Group. Firstly, Kayo Sports, which is now the leading sports streaming business in Australia. We launched Binge, which was really targeting the entertainment industry.
We operate in a very competitive industry, and we are a local player among global giants. So Binge in particular competes with Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney+. The core of my role is to get customers to stay on the platform for as long as possible. We do that through customer engagement, we do that through cross-sell, and we do that through insights, analytics, and data science to really understand our customers.
We've actually embraced machine learning for quite some time. We do have an in-house insights and analytics team who've built a number of different predictive models in the past.
We started by building a rapid cycle A/B testing capability. We conducted over 300 tests in the first 18 months, and through that, we delivered really significant uplift. After we conducted our A/B testing program, we knew that the next stage of evolution was through AI.
I'm lucky enough to work in a team with like legends. However, there's only so much in terms of what humans can set up within a day. We considered OfferFit because we were looking for an additive technology that we could just easily plug into our existing tech stack.
OfferFit helps brands personalize their communication to their customers by replacing A/B testing with automated experimentation.
What OfferFit gave us was the ability to take all of that test and learn and campaign automation and to put it on steroids.
So through OfferFit, we really wanted to shift from a mass market or a broad segment approach to true one-to-one personalisation of our customer journeys. What we used to be able to do was test one or a couple of different variations at a time, whether it be what content are we sending, what channel, when are we sending it. We're now testing all of that at once in literally thousands of different variations. We've seen all of our use cases show positive uplift. Some of them have been fantastic. I'm talking 20x ROI.
So getting that 1% or 2% increase can actually translate into millions of dollars of upsides.
Working with OfferFit has been amazing. It's really a one-team feel.
If you have that commitment to building a true one-to-one communication platform for your business, I would certainly recommend that you have OfferFit as part of the puzzle.
Okay, the video was a little low, but then what they really did was they were trying to do a bit of A/B testing initially, but that was not working well for them. And then they used OfferFit, by which they were able to increase subscriptions by 14% in just 1 year, and their cross-sells went up by 105%. So huge uplift for them. Like you heard, one of the KO4s say that they had 20x ROI by using AI. I want to give you one more example before I wrap up, which is a large US bank which used OfferFit to personalize the credit card experiences. Now, what they were doing was they had more than 1,000 data scientists working for them already. And they were doing A/B testing to kind of see how can we get more referrals from our customers for new credit card users. And they had these variations, right? What time should we send the email? What day of the week should we send that communication? What should be the frequency of those emails? What should be the subject line? So on and so forth. What they realized was, when you look all of these together, there were 35,000 combinations of a message which would go to a customer. 35,000. And then on top of that, they had actually 113 different attributes for each customer. And I'll talk about that in a moment as well. Now, the result of that was mind-blowing. In just 4 weeks, they were able to get 92% uplift in conversion rate. And this is the team which has 1,000 data scientists already. And they are still able to get an improvement of 92%. And they were able to generate business worth $16 million of annual benefit. And what happened also was they got some very interesting insights. As per their original thesis, they thought the best day to send an email to a customer was on Tuesdays. So all their communication went out on a Tuesday. But after they used Braze's OfferFit AI decisioning, what they realized was that though Tuesday might be one of the better days, it's not for all of their customers. It's only for 27% of their customers. Everyone else has a different preferred day to be communicated with. So some insights, and then I talked about 113 attributes which they actually looked at. And looking at all these combinations, they were able to send a message which was super personalized, more like a segment of one. So just to wrap up my talk, I would like to share with you that if you are still on the sidelines around AI, it's time to jump into it, because this is not a trend. It's the new baseline. And if you want to be a company which is actually leading in its category, you need to adopt it and not debate it at all. And I started my talk by talking about the fact that your customers matter, and you need to create this segment of one. But what really, really is important is that it's not your customers in general, but each and every individual customer matters. Each individual in your database, be it a prospect, be a customer, matters. And that's what you should think about when you're using AI to engage with your customers. So this is the link to the the customer engagement review, which we commissioned along with AB 180, which has very, very interesting insights about Korean customers. So if you want to take a quick picture of the QR code and you can take a look at the report in your free time. With that, I would like to thank you for your time and your attention and wish you a great day of learning. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.